Indian Institute of Management Kashipur is a second-generation IIM set by the government of India in 2011. In all these years, the institute stands true to its vision and mission. Our vision is to be an institute of eminence that fosters management research and education and develops leaders for creating positive societal impact in a changing world. And the mission of IIM Kashipur is to create and disseminate knowledge through applied and interdisciplinary research and practices in emerging areas of management. IIM Kashipur is committed to its four core values of collegiality, transparency, green consciousness, and proactive engagement for all the stakeholders. IIM Kashipur has a sprawling campus of 200 acres, situated in one of the most beautiful locations in India. The lush green campus is nestled in the lap of the Himalayas in the state of Uttarakhand. The institute enjoys the nearby industrial belt, having more than 180 ventures. This strategic geographical positioning provides a vantage point for IIM Kashipur when it comes to learning by doing through regular industry interaction and live projects. IIM Kashipur is equipped with all the modern facilities ranging from the technologically advanced classrooms to hostels, providing all the amenities and infrastructure such as gymnasium, library, amphitheatre, other sports facilities, and shops for daily requirements. The Institute offers various programs that are MBA Analytics, Executive MBA, Management Development Program, PhD, and Executive MBA Analytics. We have continuously looked to cater to what the industry demanded. The latest edition of MBA Analytics in January 2020 in course offerings is a testament to that. Our executive MBA program at Enablement Campus has kept abreast with the evolving trends at institutions, such as first-generation IIMs. IIM Kashipur has a mix of permanent and visiting faculty to offer a holistic learning experience in various domains. There are 40+ permanent faculties who are some of the best professors and research minds. The Institute has also been able to bring in subject matter experts from leading companies and other institutions as visiting faculties to equip the students with the best industry practices and perspectives. The Institute has established 4 centers of excellence that are Center of Excellence in Public Policy and Government, Design Innovation Center, Foundation for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development.
3D is a startup incubation center at IIM Kashipur, operating since 2019. In the last 6 years, we have supported more than 200 startups in the starting a new business and scaling up their existing solution.
IIM Kashipur, a completely student-driven campus, from placements to functional work. From academic to non-academic activities, there is a student body for each discipline. Being a part of such student bodies and event-specific teams, students get first-hand experience of time management, working in a team, situation handling, and managing positive relationships with the administration. IIM Kashipur has secured several clients with leading management institutes across the world, including Spain, France, Denmark, Greece, Israel, South Korea, Taiwan, UK, Thailand, and many more. IIM Kashipur also offers the short-term exchange program, STEM, We are indebted to our students and alumni for maintaining the legacy of the institute. With their determination, we have been granted the reputed ACSP membership. We aim to achieve new heights with every new batch of students. We celebrate the ups and downs of the journey of our beloved students and would like to wish them luck for upcoming years.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It is with immense pride and great pleasure that we welcome you all to Chapter 2 of Samanvaya 2026, the annual flagship HR Conclave of the Indian Institute of Management Kashipur. Samanvaya is more than just an event for us. It is a platform that brings together the finest minds from industry, academia, and our student community to engage in meaningful conversations about the future of work and the evolving world of people.
At IIM Kashipur, we have always believed that true learning happens when classroom insights meet real-world experiences. Through Samanvaya, we strive to create that bridge, bringing together thought leaders who are actively shaping workplaces, cultures, and careers across industries. We are also delighted to share that today's conclave is being live streamed across our social media platforms, allowing these discussions to reach a much wider audience. We are honored to have with us Professor Utkarsh, Chair Placements, and Professor Deepak Verma, Chair Placements, Professor Somnath Chakrabarti, Professor Marketing, and Professor Shubham Sharma, Professor of Organizational Behavior and HR. Thank you, sirs, for gracing this occasion with your presence.
As we move into the second half of today's conclave, we shift our focus from career progression to something even deeper and more fundamental, the human side of performance. This year's theme, from employment to enablement, reminds us that organizations today must go beyond simply offering jobs. They must create environments where individuals feel empowered, valued, and inspired to contribute meaningfully. Because true performance does not come from supervision or control alone. It comes from purpose, from trust, and from a sense of psychological ownership. With this thought, we introduce our second panel discussion: performance, purpose, and psychological ownership. This session will explore our organization can build cultures from employees don't just work for a company, they feel responsible for its success and growth.
It is now my privilege to introduce our esteemed panelists for the evening. We begin by welcoming Ms. Shiva Rajan, Vice President, People and Change Management at First Hive. With whom and cultural contribution. She is known for her people-first leadership style and her emphasis on empathy, meaningful employee experiences, and sustainable organizational change. Ma'am, we are truly honored to have you with us today. May I request thank you present a welcome bouquet to Ms. Shiva.
Pick up this side. Okay, you don't have space.
Thank you.
Please be here.
Next up, we are delighted to introduce Dr. Swarnpreet Singh, AVP and Campus Head. Hiring, employer branding, and building strong academia industry partnership. He has engaged with hundreds of institutes and thousands of students to create impactful and purpose-driven career opportunities. Sir, it is a pleasure to welcome you. May I request Professor Deepak to present a bouquet to Dr. Swarnpreet Singh.
Now, welcome Ms. Vishakha Vaibhavi, Manager HR at L&T Finance. Known for simplifying complex people challenges and designing practical, ethical, and sustainable HR solutions, she brings a grounded and business-aligned HR perspective to today's discussion. We are delighted to have you with us. May I request Professor Somnath to present a bouquet to Ms. Vishakha.
Next up, it is our honor to introduce Ms. Ruma Batheja, partner at Knowledgetics Research, a national recognized HR leader and award-winning professional. She has made significant contribution in advisory, strategy, and transformation initiatives across industries and continues to inspire organizations through her insights and thoughtful leadership. Ma'am, we are privileged to welcome. Thank you. Now, may I request Professor Shubham to present a bouquet to Ms. Yu.
Finally, we welcome Mr. Anup Ghoshal, Business Head at Nallas Corporation, working at the intersection of healthcare technology, digital learning, and workforce enablement. He has been instrumental in driving future-ready skill development and transforming learning ecosystems through immersive technologies. Sir, we are pleased to have you with us. May I request Professor Deepak Verma to present a bouquet to Mr. Anup.
Guiding today's discussion is our moderator for the evening, Mr. Utkarsh Singh, Senior Product Manager at Paytm. With his strong background in building and scaling digital products and systems, he brings a unique lens to conversations about enablement, ownership, and performance. We are grateful to have him steer this discussion. May I request a bouquet to welcome our moderator,
Such a diverse and accomplished panel, we are confident that today's conversation will provide us with valuable insights into how organizations can foster purpose-driven and high-performance cultures. So without further ado, I invite our moderator Utkarsh Singh to take over and begin the panel discussion. Over to you, sir.
Thanks. Welcome everyone, welcome seniors. So the three most important piece. How I want to structure this discussion is maybe we'll start with purpose first. How maybe defining the right purpose in organizations can lead to the right sort of ownership mindset. And from there on we move to the performance part of it. So I would like you to start from purpose. How we can
Okay, good evening everyone. So ideally, purpose should have been the last in the chronology because if you look at the other two, And you start typically, like all organizations, every organization is set up for performance, right? And probably the biggest challenge which will emerge into this discussion is how do we link purpose to performance? And what happens if I perform, but I don't have a purpose? Possible, right? Because performance can be driven by so many other things, right? Performance is, uh, could be derived through perks, allowances, portfolios. It can be so many things goal oriented. Whereas purpose is always outcome oriented. Correct. So I think that is where we need to lead to. I start this discussion and then create that conflict in this group. Probably others can come in. We have all stalwarts in our panel today. I'm sure that people will definitely, and I'll keep coming in. Probably challenging each of these thought processes, and we will see how we fare. But one thing is. Purpose is something which is ingrained, okay, which is a part. Largely, I see that it is a culture that we are brought up with. Okay, we either generally we don't develop it over a period of time while working in an organization. We somehow the seed of culture is somewhere sown already in our souls, and I'm slightly spiritual and philosophical, so you have to excuse that. Okay, but I'll punch it. I'll punch it with practicality also. Okay, so that is how it is. Okay, that is how I look at the entire thing.
Okay, so building on from what Sir said right now, purpose, a very powerful word. What I feel is, we all live for a specific purpose. That's philosophical. That's psychological. Coming to the corporate part of it, all of us know KFC. Sanders' story is known to everyone. 1,000 rejections. But his purpose of that 11 secret ingredient of that one best recipe is what KFC is today. Second example of purpose, Dyson, James Dyson. He in his garage failed how many times? 5,126 prototypes of a vacuum cleaner. Just why? Because the suction power was not good enough to bring it to the market for launch. 5,126 times he created prototype because of that one single purpose of getting the right vacuum cleaner in the market. And that's where we know what Dyson is for. What purpose? Google, everybody knows Google. Everybody uses Gmail. Do you know 23rd employee of Google, Deep Paul, he was the one who thought differently that what is the purpose of having the search engine if we do not give our audience, our people, the right storage capacity. It was started in 2001 by that 23rd employee of a purpose-driven employee for a better performance. And the third word of this panel discussion is psychological ownership. And then, when did he launch it? They launched it in 1st April 2004. What is 1st April? People thought something is wrong with Google. How can they think of such a huge storage capacity? Because those were the days of Hotmail. Storage was a huge concern. But that one purpose of how do I help my customer, my client, made all the difference. And recent news, all of you have heard about a very new social platform for AI bots. What is it? Have you not heard about Moltbook? Can anyone imagine ever that very similar to Facebook, Moltbook has come into picture? Why? Because the great person, the great technologist decided if humans can have a social networking channel, why can't my AI bots have? But here the purpose is very different. Here the purpose probably can give rise to very different consequences. That's bothersome for me. So we'll talk about it in details to start with your concept of purpose, performance. These are beautiful stories from the past, from the present, and from the future, which you will see has a huge role to play when we speak to, especially the young future leaders here.
Hi everyone. So
I think purpose differ from person to person. And it differs in something in corporate and something in personal. I will talk more about the corporate industry. It's very easy to lead KPI, KRA to an employee. Okay, very easy. You have to achieve this target. Or you for Flescom people, you have to call 100 of the companies. Okay, in a year, maybe 15 companies you have to target. That's only the target. But when we put the ownership along with that, we put the reason behind why we are doing it. What is the reason and how it is going to impact an organization? The same way, if we say the PLACECOM, if you call the 15 people or 15 organization, it has an impact even for your juniors or maybe the coming generation. That's when the purpose comes in. Okay? It's very easy to set the targets, okay, but to set and clarify the purpose, the reason behind the purpose is the main agenda. Okay, I think younger generation, they are not working on a traditional method. Nobody wants to. Supervisor ने ये बोल दिया बोल के हमें ये नहीं करना है. Okay, we do any certain work because we want to see the effect of that particular thing. What's if I'm doing a certain work, what is going to be impacted? Who all are they going to impact it because of this particular work? How it is going to impact? That's when the purpose comes. When you clarify the purpose with the targets and with the agenda, it becomes very clear and it's become very impactful. And the same thing happens in the personal life as well. If I say my book that you have to make a food for two people, 5 roti, some sabji, that's the target. But when I say you have to cook so that I can stay healthy and also you can also stay in work for a longer period of time, then she has a purpose. Then she has an aim which links to the her work life, what she's working. So I think purpose is very much important when it comes to your work, when it comes to a target, when it comes to your KRS. Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. This post-study session are very good. You can see your faces. Luckily, you're not yawning, thanks to IIM Kashipur. But I can see people are sleepy. I can see, yes, you're tired, exhausted. So are we, trust me. We all would have almost 50 plus 60 years of experience collectively. 10 each. Or maybe 25? Oh my God. 100. It's about to cross 100.
100.
About to cross 100. What is the purpose of this event? Anyone? Simple line. What is the purpose of this event?
To build better connection with HRs.
How would you build a connection?
Basically,
HRs are like amoebas. No connection.
the first thing is like impressions that all the students are going to present you through this complex. That's the thing. And through this session, we're going to see that how our consultants are better suited for the organization, our corporate review.
Good. Anybody else?
To transfer the learning that you collectively have together out of all the discussions.
There is no direct way. Sorry. Connection is cut here. There is no transformation or transfer of learning. We can only share our stories.
So that is what we get to learn because
But when you would face your own story, it would be totally different. Trust me. It would be totally different. Anybody else? The purpose of this event? He's almost right. It's all about experience. Experience what I and particularly all the other leaders would carry about IIM Kashipur. Experience from the morning when, once they feel that, and of course the family would say, why are you leaving? Kyun ja rahe ho? Saturday. The purpose is, no, I want to give it back to the society. I want to give it to the students. Your purpose is definitely the experience, the image, the impression. You rightly mentioned that we would like to feel great while meeting you. How? That's the performance. Question. How you perform? Maybe by yawning, maybe by asking questions. Depends. Depends how would you engage with us. Nobody would open the treasure box without knocking it, without once you say back, we want to learn it. We are even the same. We're not that old. We're very same. We would like to learn from you. Trust me. Gone are those days that it's a one-side transfer of learning. We want to learn from you. We want to learn from you that how to be full leave in blazers, ties on Saturdays. Why attendance is so mandatory on Saturdays. We want to learn from you that what are your takeaways maybe after the session? Would like to interact with you. Gone are those definitions, bookish knowledge. Keep it side, simple. What is your takeaway? And your takeaway would be different from him. His takeaway would be different from anybody else. That's our ownership. What I want to take away is my own takeaway. I don't like ketchup, I like hot sauce. That's my takeaway. Right? Thanks.
Hi, good afternoon or good afternoon, yeah. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I happen to speak to a bunch of folks here when I arrived, and all of you are from different backgrounds, right? Undergrad level. How many of you are engineering? Quite a few. How many of you are commerce, arts? Okay. Anybody who's done something completely different before any of you?
Lawyers,
Chartered accountants, lawyers,
MBBS, MD,
Very nice. Okay. So when you started out, when you finished school, all of you had a different purpose, correct? And even amongst the engineers, I'm sure you're all from different backgrounds, right? Mechanical, civil, electronics, electricals, so different backgrounds. So all of us started out with a different purpose. You're all in the same college, right? Now you have a different purpose. And as the campus placement season sets in, we're all going to end up in different industries. Maybe not what you think you're going to end up in today, but it is going to change. Your purpose also evolves, right? It's about what you feel right now and what is more important to you or a priority for you right now. Okay. So when you go to an organization, something in that resonates with you, which is why you take up the role that will eventually come to you. Right? But as you progress in your careers, that's going to change as well. So I'm going to ask, are all of us doing the same thing we started out at the start of our career? Anyone here?
No.
Even among the professors, like to ask, anybody here who started out and still continuing the same thing? All of us evolve. Purpose also evolves. And that's something I think we'll talk in detail. Thank you guys.
Yes. Good points. So, sir, why I wanted to start this purpose first is like whenever I interact with the younger generations, the young engineers who are just joining the companies, their purpose for working is very different from the older generation. My managers, my skip managers, their style of working is very different. So, how it all can tie together from performance to ownership to a high performing organization. So maybe getting that first thing right, getting them aligned with the bigger purpose might be the way out. That was my thought process. That's why I started out that way. So I just wanted to explore, like at least in your experiences, how can the next generation of leaders can be formed and then can be driven through, let's say, purpose and ownership was a big topic that we discussed, right? The ownership styles of the younger generation is very different. So how can we like tie these two things together to sort of develop high performing individuals, leaders for tomorrow?
Okay, so largely if you see, there are two kind of human beings. Okay, one who does not have purpose. Okay, and then there is another one who have some purpose. Now that some purpose need also to align with the organizational purpose. Right? So the basic ingredient that you look at is whether that soul is having any purpose or not. Casual and serious folks, to be in very crude language. Okay. Now you will be astonished in my 25 years of experience what I have seen. I have seen very casual folks like me who did not have a purpose. Okay, many of you are resonating with me. I could see those smiles. Okay. Suddenly became purposeful over a period of time. So we keep searching for that common path where we cross our paths. The organization and your path crosses at some intersection. That's where you find the purpose. Now, there is one word which is very synonymous or that comes along with that purpose, especially when you ask me how do we do that. Does the leadership have any formula of doing it? Or we need to explore that. Fortunately, yes. Everyone can have a purpose that may or may not align with an organization. If it is not aligning with the organization, HR's job is very easy. They know what to do with that. Okay. But if there is any chance that it aligns with the organization, then the next word that comes is recognition. Mind you, that's the biggest incentive for anyone to have a purpose. Okay, that anyone I am always pointing out to me, guys who are the problem for them. Okay, they will find out a way, you are, and another word which is very close to that is responsible. Am I responsible? Do I like recognition? These are the very core things, okay, which basically drives this purpose in life. And then things starts falling in place. I'll not explore deep into it, okay, I'll probably try to leave it at this, because then there are steps to it, and I'm sure that our discussion will move to it, and I will allow this to come from the other participants also. I will observe, wait and watch and see how it is unfurling, and then we will definitely conclude it to where it basically matters. But to answer your, since you have asked me questions, my responsibility to also answer you that. Okay, so the basic answer to that, the way to tie this purpose is basically communicating in a very clear way. This generation who is sitting, who is almost, from three sides, you people are surrounding us, okay, is very meaningful generation. Very meaningful generation. You guys don't like any faff. You always want, in fact, some of you are already thinking, why is Anup taking so much of time? Bol do na yaar ek baar. Correct? And I love that. Why, twisting around. So I'm trying to keep my sambhashan, jisko kehte hain, as small as possible, okay, because I know whom I am dealing with. Okay, तो ये अगर करना है तो उनको आप ये बता दीजिए कि अचीव क्या करने वाले हो, व्हाट एम आई एक्सपेक्टिंग. ये एक्सपेक्टेशन ही क्लियर नहीं होता है लार्ज, मोस्ट विद द लार्ज ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. You people are slightly blessed because you are in the era of startups. Startups typically are smaller organization, and then you will see that things are growing where you have at least some clarity. But the era that we were launched in, okay, what part was that? Dronacharya part. So I am from that era.
Floppy disk.
हाँ जी, ठीक है, फ्लॉपी से नहीं, हाँ फ्लॉपी, ठीक है, तो स्कूल में ही आ गया था फ्लॉपी. हाँ, एक्चुअली हमारे समय रहते हमने फ्लॉपी आते हुए देखा स्कूल्स. Exactly. So we from that generation, वहाँ पे ना communication is the biggest barrier. So this now that we have arrived in this kind of a forum discussion, कि एक purpose होना चाहिए. This was itself missing. We did not know what is purpose in real life. Now this generation has started. Why this is discussion? क्योंकि ये generation को अभी चाहिए कि भाई purpose क्या है बताओ. Now one more step कि purpose लाए कैसे? तो purpose लाएंगे how we are. All of you are comfortable with Hindi, right? I am mixing it with Hindi and English. It's okay, right? Okay. So largely, so if you are trying to bring in purpose, then give them the clarity. What do you want in the first place? And three things. Okay, one, what am I supposed to do? ये इनको जानना बहुत जरूरी है. So give them as leadership. Okay, tell them what you are supposed to do, what you are empowered to do, and what you are not empowered to do. ये तीन चीज का clarity आप इनको दे दो. ठीक है? And what is it that you will achieve out of it? Very meaningful generation, as I said. तो ये हमारे ट्रेनिंग के लिंगो में हम लोग कहते हैं WIIFM. What is in it for me? Correct? तो ये अगर आपको सबको बता देते हो ना, this is not only professional life, आपके personal life में भी try करके देख लेना, सबको WIIFM बता दो पहले. What is in it for me? फिर तो आगे का रास्ता clear हो जाता है. I think so.
So see, for me, between purpose and performance, there is one very important word which links these two. I assume that all of your IIM students, you have a purpose. I am assuming that, because I was talking to Daksh and Mr. Bhandari and other people here. So what I got to know that you also have the work experience. Now the problem from corporate side, what we face as leaders is not essentially purpose, as sir said rightly, that you know why you are here. So between purpose and performance, there's a very important word known as passion. What you are good at, what is your passion, what you want to do. The why and the how is secondary, but what is very important. Small example, I started my career into sales and marketing. I don't know what attracted me towards HR. Sorry. I entered into HR for 15 more years. And then I felt, what am I doing in HR? And then I entered into this organization named as Knowledgetics Research, which is an amalgamation of intelligence, market intelligence is what we do. So research, analytics, consulting. And I am thoroughly enjoying these 9 years of my stint in this organization. So basically, I have connected that element of P of purpose and performance with passion today. It took me so many years. I have completed 22 years of my experience into the corporate world, but minus 12 22 minus 10. So here, when you choose specialization, you should know why you are choosing. It is not the purpose of getting the right placement, but do you like doing it? For example, marketing as a specialization. When I interview people, I ask them not about those models and frameworks of marketing, but I ask them, do you know how to use MailChimp, SEM Rush? In this context, which one will you use more than this one? You get my point, and you will be intrigued. Your curiosity level will go up only if you align your internal strength with that passion, performance, and purpose. So, purpose plus passion, I feel, is equal to performance. And remember, when you have added another P to that, because we are talking a lot of P's here today, is your psychological, what is it, ownership. Research proves that 35% higher productivity is given to those people who exhibit this psychological ownership, specifically into critical tasks and creative tasks. So please add on your internal strength, your passion with the other piece which we are discussing today. My 2 cents now.
So, after listening Anup and Ruma, with my little experience, I'm not very vintage. I'm one of few people. I'm hoping the word vintage. So, going into that, I will share an experience of mine. Okay, Anup has correctly said about the clarity of roles, why it is to be needed, passionate, everything is there. Okay, but one example I'm going to give you. One of my organization, there was a branch manager. Okay, I will give you a lot of banking and BFSI examples. I have that background, so please, sorry for that. But yeah, so that manager was a very high performance guy. He was achieving the target and everything. Okay. In banking, there's a high level of target. Okay, and he's achieving everything. But the person, when we talk as an HR, we understood that this person is not very happy what he's doing, and he might go to some other place. Okay, so when you are a high performer and you do not have a purpose or passion, you will move to other organization. And attrition, being an HR, is one of the biggest challenge we all are facing. Okay, in all the verticals, I'd say attrition, we talk about this a lot. So after understanding, we check with them what doesn't make you happy, why it's happening. Okay, you are a good performer, you are earning a good incentive, you are the top performer, we are giving you a recognition in all the R&R award ceremony, and that person put that particular thing is that there is a lot of hierarchy and approvals. Okay, now the thing of ownership, which Ruma was correctly saying, that this is also again interlinked with passion, purpose, and performance. Ownership is also linked in that particular thing. So, how did we get to know how to understand the purpose of a person? Is a feedback. Okay, when there is a feedback, and it's not negative feedback or positive feedback, feedback is always two-way feedback. Okay, you get feedback from your friends, you get your feedback from your supervisor, you get your feedback from your professors, your children, maybe youngsters, anyone. है ना? So if we have a correct mechanism of feedback where people give and we work on that particular thing, we can understand and align that person's purpose with the performance, and that's how the things goes ahead. Because if purpose and your performance needs to be aligned and passion needs to be aligned, then there's some sort of feedback needs to be there, clarity of roles needs to be there. And when all these things come into a place, I have seen a person going extra mile. Okay, what the person was doing is doing an extra. Okay, not because organization has done it or somebody has said it, but because they want to create an impact. They really want to do something. Okay, so I think feedback and clarity of rules along with the passion is a key to the ownership and good performance in that way.
So when there is purpose, that extra mile happens by itself.
Yes.
Then you don't look at it because then you start understanding the impacts. ये अगर मैंने नहीं किया तो फिर क्या होगा? Okay, so you start going beyond your work role, correct? Going beyond your responsibility, beyond what has been told. That's why I said three things: what I'm supposed to do, what I'm not supposed to do. Okay, so जो I'm not supposed to do, but I'm seeing that that's going to impact. Okay, what I'll do? I'll go and escalate immediately. कि boss ये नहीं हो रहा है. Then we will not achieve this. Now that's purpose. It's not in my capacity, it's not in my territory. Then I need to basically alert the other person who is responsible to take care of that territory. Otherwise, that will impact my project.
Let's do a small role play. What I will say. Yeah, I hope you all carry a pen and paper. It's just a 2-minute activity. If not carry pen or stick, I need a pen and paper at your desk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Those who
Only
do
count by
not
10.
use your mobile phone,
What a mobile is distraction here. Mobile is certainly a distraction. Carry a pen and paper. I want you to wait for 1, 2. If you're not carrying a pen and paper, you can leave. Your attendance will not be long. College needs attendance. Very brutal. Even organization needs attendance. Double brutal. Pen, paper, in case you carry pen and paper or notebook, please give it to your friends. A half a page would be sufficient. Guys, quickly, we don't have a full day. How generous he is. Well, you should thank the alumni. Now to give it to you. Come and take it. Quickly. Show some energy. I know it's Saturday. You can use this. This is your college property. I can see people.
Perfect.
Yes. Is there dead? Yes, ready with the pen and paper? Quickly. No. That experience time. Ready? Yes, no, maybe. Yes, done. So again, as you mentioned, the question is very simple. The answer should be very specific. You can only write 3 pointers, not more than 550 words. 50 words are even enough. Write down the question right now, the moment I say it. How to kill your boredom instantly. Write it. Write the answer of it, how you would kill your own boredom instantly. What really excites you? What really makes you up? Purpose is how to kill your own boredom instantly. That's the purpose. Answer should be very clear, 3 pointers, not more than 50 words. You need to write it on first. Carry a pen here. I know that I cannot carry a pen. The purpose is very simple and you need to display ownership. The answer should not be, similar. यहाँ पे copy नहीं कर. Plagiarism बहुत strict है college का. Right? Answer.
I'll go outside, look at the insects.
Okay, good. Insects really excites you. Yeah.
So maybe start
engaging in a interactive, like this happens a lot in classes sometimes, if it is too one-sided, then we start giving more CPs and we start engaging more. So that's a very good way to do it.
Now, that's specifically for you or for all? Generally. No, you need to write for your own self.
So this is for me.
Yeah,
personally.
good. Yeah. Very lecture. Anything very crazy?
Reading a book.
No, that's.
ये crazy है कि ये row में बच्चा है. So I would do what interests me. Maybe play football or something.
Yeah, that kills the moral instantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like this. Yeah.
Just to swim.
Maybe linking with those activity which I like. Basically, I like to roam. So what I did in my class first is like I used to study in my upstairs. So that's the way I can connect with the government. That's what we like.
Yeah.
Specific बताओ यार. एकदम specific. Generally.
Sorry? Yeah. Anybody else? Looking for specific answer.
Go out and eat.
Go out and eat food. World of us. Yeah.
I like crocheting, so simple songs and crocheting.
Good. So see, your answers are very different from each other. That's your ownership. You should know yourself much better. Organization will teach you how to know the organization. The moment they will start paying you, they will teach you n number of things which you will not think of. Forget about that. You should, as a personality, you should know yourself much better. What really excites you? The answer lies within your own self. That's a purpose, that's a ownership. And that's how you perform. She mentioned about passion. That's where your passion comes. And trust me, I still remember my first boss, he used to mention that performance only comes under pressure. Performance won't come under harmony. You score very 10 to 12 because you were having pressure. You achieve your targets because you were having pressure. So it's okay to have pressure. A decent size of pressure is good to keep the engine moving on. But you should know your own self much better than any other corporate. We have changed almost 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. Every organization is different, philosophy is different, purpose is different, mission, vision, whatnot is different. It's good to unlearn and relearn. But it's very, very essential to learn your own self. Especially with this generation, you have answer to everything except your own self. So start investing into your own self. That's where you achieve the purpose.
Okay, how many of you wrote things down, wanted to speak, but hesitated to speak? Like, honestly. Okay. Thank you for being honest. I'm sure there are more people here who wrote things down but didn't want to. So this is how organizations work as well. Okay. The loudest person in the room gets the attention. Okay. This is something you need to remember. It's like a current Joker movie for folks who understand this, right? We release movies at the end of the year because the awards happen at the beginning of the year next year. People remember it. People remember that movie that got released in November, December, and not the one that was released maybe in March or April that year. When we talk about purpose, we talk about performance. Some of you are very good at showcasing it, some of you are not. Right? And each of us differ in our ways, like what we've all been talking about, and like what Anup sir mentioned, right? You all need to start asking, what's in it for me? When sir posed a question, some of you gave very generic answers, but some of you were very specific. You actually thought about, hey, how would I break my model, right? Like you started off saying, I'd go out and look at insects. Very specific to you. So each of us differ in our performance, even in your grades, right? If you look at it, how did schools grade you? How did your undergrad programs grade you? And how is IIM grading you? How many of you think you did better in school than you're doing now? Yeah? Honest answers, yes. Okay? And that's how organizations are going to be as well. You'll go into one organization after the other, and you'll realize that you do differently in each role. in each industry, right? And I'm someone who's worked across industries, across larger organizations, startups, different roles. But there are some roles that I did exceptionally well, and some roles I didn't. And you're going to learn that as part of the process. This exercise, I hope, help you understand, what's driving you to do the things, right? Some of you didn't even write. Am I right? I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands, but I know that some of you didn't even write. Because you were probably asking, what's in it for me? Right? So that's what makes the difference in any organization when you go. And like what we were talking about, right? Purpose defines and your performance. Even talking about what you said, right? Passion. You need to have a passion. Many of them did not want to write today, sir. Okay.
Expanding on that, right? So like Anup sir said that for defining the purpose, you need to be transparent with this generation, right? You want to tell them what you need to do, why you need to do, and when you will do it, what will the outcome be, right? But does it, like, is it effective in a hybrid work environment? Is it like effective in a remote work environment? Does it take care of itself? Or do we need to do something more in such sort of roles? Because there's obviously a disconnect. Because like from an office environment, when you switch to a remote role, the ownership, the purpose changes day to day, right? You're much more affected by your surroundings. So just wanted to explore, do you need to do something more or how do you go about it?
See, one mistake that we largely do when I hear this question, and I want to make it very clear that purpose has nothing to do with your workspace. The moment, and it's our mistake, the way that means, like if we are thinking the hybrid culture and, the office culture vis-a-vis, we are trying to, put them together, put them separately and trying to see it through. Okay. We need to understand that those who have purpose, as I right at the beginning, I said there are two kinds of people. Right? Does not have a purpose, probably we need to see them in a different lens altogether. Okay. But then the purpose feeling itself has no relationship, no attachment with the workspace. It has nothing to do. Okay. It only has, and I'll come back and I'll be repetitive on it, that if they know what they are supposed to bring in, many of you will not disagree with me, you have work exposures also, right? Many of you do not know that what part of the wheel are you, what is your work impacting to the organization. Many of us senior people will also not be able to probably tell them how my work is impacting the organization. Do I know? The very interesting shift that is happening now, I think during your first half, we were talking about people's more than capability. Correct me. What was the topic first? First topic was.
It was more of on like we are moving from titles.
Titles, exactly.
Portfolio.
That's exactly what I'm trying to tell. From titles to skill portfolio. Now imagine if you're talking about title to skill portfolio, is title attached to my workspace? Or is my skill attached to my workspace? Nothing. So there is a shift from title to workspace. There is commercial tug of war. Some of the senior folks does not believe in detaching title from people. So Lada, you had those discussions the first time, I'm sure. Okay. But then what we need to look at now, we need to ponder upon a very nice question that you have asked, I must say. Many of us, 99% of us always, we are not able to separate this thing, the purpose thing. Okay. We need to go to the very basic where we started from. This, I think the discussion started at a very right degree of enablement. Okay. Where we started discussing these things, if we now break it into the portfolio thing, what skill portfolios do you have? Now, if you know, the second part is that now if you know that what is it that you are bringing into the table by doing this, how it is going to impact the organization, then automatically purpose comes. I still remember in standard fifth, my marks card, those days school used to always, I think these days the school does it even more, amplified version of it. Is that, like they write about you as a student, okay, in your report card, along with the marks and all those things. So in my standard fifth result card, I still remember, I was mentioned as one of the most responsible students.
Still up.
Okay, and I get to hear, see, the very thing is that today I realize that I have stepped, one notch up. Everyone is calling me sir because of this. Yeah, in fact, Ruma is also calling me sir. So, that result got, standard.
Sorry.
The vintage, and vintage.
I love the word.
So the most vintage guy here, me, I think is I'm the natural sir of all. Okay. But the thing is that what happens, and I made a comment, if you remember, that the seed is somewhere sown inside your soul of that purpose. It's a very deep thing. So I am probably, and I also said that I was one of the most purposeless guys in my corporate life. Correct? You remember that. Now, if you bring all three together, my three statements together and join them, you will see one thing that when I became, when purpose got aligned to the organization is when I got to know how I am impacting the organization. And then that feeling comes, if I don't do what will happen? ये जब आ गया ना, that responsibility in my scorecard, okay, rightly identified by some teacher that हाँ इसको ये है. And that comes even if you did not have that in your scorecard, but that starts happening for those people who are not very purposeful. Otherwise, when they start their career and then they over a period of time, people call it maturity. They gain it largely by this HR. I'm not from HR fraternity, okay, but then largely from how the HR. The thankless HR team otherwise, I think Ruma was telling me that when someone, and you or Shiva or Ruma, either of them said that, I used to be basically be very punitive towards the HR department in good words. Okay. And otherwise thinking that useless. Okay. So, but then when she assumed the role, she started understanding what it is. So those matrices that Vaishnavi is talking about, okay, those parameters, matrices and all these things, then you somehow understand, you get aligned to the organization's purpose, you find that, and then comes this question, whether it is hybrid, how do we bring it to that? I don't, only thing that we need to do, probably the only distance that comes between the hybrid and the traditional model of work office, the differentiator is communication. Again, if you look at it. The only challenge that hybrid managers today is having is how do I communicate, how do I hold everyone responsible, how rest of the things, monitoring, tracking, AI tools, blah, blah, everything is there. That's a separate topic we'll talk later in this discussion. Okay, but the communication is the key here. Clarity is the key here. WIIFM is the key here. Yeah.
You have a question. Okay. So the 3Ps for simplification, let us use 3Ps here. And I have been in different functions, cross-functional domain, marketing, sales, HR, technology, analytics, all of that, consulting. Let me just take the discussion towards another direction, but directionally differently. Suppose you don't have these 3Ps, what will happen? Opposite, okay. So we are stressing on we should have that. Suppose we don't have that. Let us understand that all of us today are living in a world which is moving towards man-machine collaboration. Let's not forget that. There are a lot of questions in front of us which are not answered as of now. So man-machine collaboration, around 43% of employees are well aware that their job roles are disappearing in the next 5 to 7 years. That means 43% needs to change their job roles. Otherwise, that will be taken up by, we all know here, right? 30,000 layoff has been added up in the kitty of Oracle. If you have recently heard the news, 30,000 employee roles are moving out because AI bots are joining the firm. So there will be a time, a real time, what you have seen in different movies, that we will be collaborating with cobots. They'll be working together. AI bots will be doing our job. Forget about hybrid remote work at that point of time. We probably need to be aware of whether we have a job or not. And this is something I am worried for myself.
I'm worried for my organization, I'm worried for my employees, my colleagues around. So these three P's which we're talking about is extremely important because that is going to define whether our job will be taken away by those bots or we will be able to hold on to that particular jobs. And that is only possible when you think differently. It is only possible when you actually create something which right now the bots are or the AI agents are not able to take away from us. So not only one is technology changes, second we also see the kind of role changes across multiple industry. Project-based roles have come up 40%. 40% hiring for 2026 will happen, which is project-based. Project-based. Not that gig economy, 12 million workers, prediction is how much? Approximately 23 million workers by 2050. Plus, geographical presence of corporations in India is also changing. We are moving towards smaller cities, tier 2, coders from Coimbatore, entrepreneurs from Pune, Trichy, Ahmedabad, all of these are coming up. So there is a hell lot of change happening in the employability sector. Talking about roles, talking about skills, talking about geographical changes, talking about the kind of planning which we used to do in terms of product planning, very difficult for leaders of today. So if leaders have that problem, which we are really facing, we're talking to different organizations, I'm working with a lot of projects related to governance, GRC framework with industry stalwarts here, with your government agencies, and still we are not aware of what kind of role are we going to create for generations to come like you. So I'm worried about my daughter. What kind of role will she have? Hence, the three P's is the foundation. There is needless to discuss what is its importance. It is actually, if you don't have it, then we have to worry about it. So this direction, I thought let me put that side of the coin. Thank you.
Yeah, I love working with them. I find some of you really sleepy. I've been the PhD after classes also, so I love teaching. That don't happen. Ma'am, you please stand up. Fourth girl, middle row. Ma'am, again in the first row, third, next to you. The lady next to you. Again from a campus. No, the girl next to you. Yes, in front of you. Yes. And the boy without the pen. Sir. Yes. You didn't have a pen, right? Oh, yes. I choose a purpose. We are discussing about purpose. So, I think now, in a role play, who would like to play the boss? Out of you, decide. Quick. You like to play the boss? Good. So, she's a boss. You are typical employees. You have started your career journey. There's a term called KYC. What is KYC? So, in the employee segment, it's know your company. And primarily know your bosses. So, company means know your bosses. Right? Your alignment should be not with the company. And there is no intangible alignment. The alignment should be with the bosses. That's a clear tip. Sort of tip. With the boss, right? Yes. So again, she asked you to dig a hole here. Now, what would be your prompts? What would be your questions?
Why do we have bigger hole here?
Oh,
This is
good.
the second floor. It's please answer. The second floor, so there's no point of digging a hole.
Oh. It's challenging. Sir.
We have to give this whole quantity, what's the dimension?
So understand your job is to make your boss's job easier. Nothing else in the organization is expected out of you. Your job, your KPI, your KI. See, Saturday they forget KI. So your job is very simple to help your bosses. You will become a boss if you know what your bosses are doing. Otherwise not. If I don't know what my boss is doing, how would I replace her? Very simple. So understand you're stepping into a career, I don't know, your first year, final year. First year. So have ample of time, utilize your internship, But understand asking relevant questions. That's where your ownership and psychological ownership plays a very important role. It's not his job or her job, it's your job. You need to dig a hole. You should ask about prompts with hands, with metal, how much time do you have? She asked very relevant, why? It's a second floor. So ask any number of questions with the process. If you don't and keep it to yourself, sorry boss, it won't work. At least initial level of career, it won't. The biggest factor is presumption. The biggest challenge is presumption. She might say you to dig up 1 inch hole, you presume it's a second floor. Right? She didn't ask about 1 inch, 2 inch, or 1 foot or 10 foot. That is our presumption. Right? So even ask n number of things to your boss, not yours. My sense.
Very vital thing that he has given, I think. So what Samanvaya gave you is survival. Survive नहीं करोगे तो ownership देखिए.
ऐसी ownership
So aligned with the boss is survival. And then probably the ownership part of it.
I'm gonna throw the HR bit in. And then I'm gonna, just go with what the moderator asked us also. Are you remote or are you in person? That goes for the boss and the other person as well.
True, very true.
Okay, she asked you to take a vote. Would you be sitting remotely or would you be doing it in person?
In person.
Why?
You don't trust them.
Or she would like to make sure that the process is going smoothly.
What would you be doing as an employee in that role? Would you be a remote worker who has to take the goal or?
Yeah. I had to be there in person. So if there's something wrong with the process, she can correct me on the agency.
Okay, and how about you? Can you not remotely? You have all these bots.
Yeah.
Which can come and take things for you when you were talking about dimensions. So if you just feed in, hey, this is the depth I need, and this is how all the coordinates need to be. This is at this many degrees. Don't you think you can sit doing that remotely? Can it?
For this one, this can't be
You as an employee, you're getting the job done. Your boss has given you a task to get the work. Would you as an individual, as an employee, want to do this remotely or do it in person? Why? But what's in it for you? What's in it for you? You'll get recognized. Maybe your boss will notice your performance. Yeah. Yeah. What's in it for you?
The task is important for
So what do you get out of it?
She's also there as my boss. So then if I complete the task, then she will recognize me in that way, and then maybe I get the promotion or all.
And you take over her job. Yeah, maybe. Okay. And how about you?
But she can recognize her even in remote work also. I mean, it's not necessary you have to be present in front of your supervisor to show that you are working. I may sit in Mumbai, my supervisor may sit in Delhi. Okay, in that case, how does it work?
So that means you have no choice. Do it remotely.
So my question was, how would you then evaluate both of them? Okay, so there's one person who's saying, I can still get a lot of things done remotely. And there's one person saying, hey, I need to be in person to get this done. How would you evaluate them?
I think first of all, I would be willing to go in remote because I can clearly communicate with them. This is what I want, and I can. After I'm sure that I have communicated what I want, I can handle the responsibility to them and
But how will you check if they've done the right thing? It cannot be 0.5 centimeter also off. So the idea, you know what I'm trying to get at?
Performance management.
How do you do performance management, right? Whether you're remote, hybrid, you start thinking on those lines. So this was an example. I took over from what you were saying. And I was trying to show, look, it doesn't matter if you're hybrid. It doesn't matter if you're in person. If you have clear guidelines on what your performance metrics are, what are you going to be evaluated on, then you figure things out. And there's no right answer, right? For certain roles, it's okay, you can sit, you can do it remotely. For certain roles, you can do it in person. But as long as you know the process well, you're connected to what the outcome needs to be, your KRAs, KPIs, or whatever is clearly defined for you, right? Depending on whether you're a large organization, small organization. I work in a startup, so we just do jugaad most times. And we figure things out, right? So this was an example, and thank you for doing this because it helped me carry on with that. And then, I hope they answered the question for you.
Yeah, it did. So I think I have seen that difference. I've worked in hybrid environments, I've worked remotely as well, in office. Tracking the performance plus the recognition changes a lot. So maybe like having the right frameworks or like the right parameters, to maybe define the performance and then track it and then sort of recognize and report. I think I want to take it to a different direction. We start with the youngest voice on the panel.
It's not English.
Not how to continue.
For us, Arun is a youngest.
Yeah. I am the moderator. For me, he's the youngest.
Your life,
Yeah.
your camps and your rules.
Yeah. So, whenever we talk of ownership, at least from my personal experience, it always comes with it's a double-edged sword. Whenever it comes to ownership, if let's say, I'm in a product company, my main carriage should be to innovate and bring new product lines, to open new revenue streams. But what if I fail? How do we ensure that I do not get punished, or an employee does not get punished for experimenting? You are allowed to make mistakes. Because with ownership, I've seen across different organizations, whenever you fail, there's a repercussion to it. And that sort of somewhere stifles that sort of innovation, the want of challenging maybe the set standards. So how do you work across?
So, before I start, in my first organization, I really messed up in one of the employee grants thing. Okay, there was a legal court cases which was happening, and I went to my CHRO because it's my first job being a fresher. I felt that I'm guilty, and I said, "Ki, I'm sorry, and I messed up this particular thing." And it was a big mess. It was not easy for an organization to have a legal court cases, and it's not good as well. So he said one thing, आप काम करते हो इसलिए गलती होती है. Okay. So person who is working will, nobody is perfect. Okay. We have to accept this thing. People who are doing work will make mistake. Okay. But there is nothing related to shame when we talk about mistakes. Okay, how you gonna take it? Is I'm asking ki why you have done this mistake? You are the reason because this mistake is happening. When this kind of a conversation happening in an organization, then it's a wrong thing. Okay, but when we ask or something has happened, we will ask what went wrong, in which direction we went wrong, what is something we have done differently to achieve a certain thing. Then it comes into in a better way, and we are creating a safe environment. Again, it also related to your psychological safety. Okay, if you say to any of the person, "Okay, if you mess this up, you will be accountable to this." Okay, this seems to be giving an ownership, right? But this is not the ownership. Okay, this is imposing the ownership. We cannot impose ownership. We have to cultivate, enable people to take the ownership willingly. Okay, when anything imposed to them, it's a very different thing. Again, going back to your question, we as an HR, we as a person, and also when we talk about the younger generation, we do not have to do the micromanage. They are so clear with the thoughts when they come, they take the accountability. They come up and they say, yes, this is our thought process, and we have done a certain mistake. But we are taking this, and this is the way we are going to correct this particular situation. And that's how the new generation is shifting from the traditional method where the supervisor has said, this is my cabin, my rules, my organization. Now it's let's work together, let's do mistakes together, and let's correct the mistakes together.
I've been in a situation where my manager said, "ये फटाफट बोल दे ना."
But let me tell you something very interesting. And I have a lot of clients where I work for. There are a couple of clients who have come up with interventions and new policy, contemporary policies, where they want the people to experiment and to fail. Because as I gave the first example, how many prototypes did we create? 5,126, those are failures. And then you have Dyson today, market leader. Similarly, KFC, 1,000. Remember rejections, failures, these are failures. So there are organizations, not to name, because recently I went somewhere where they created a policy that fail fast. Experiment, redo, fail completely fine, but fail fast, learn from that mistake and then redo it. And this brings me to a very interesting point when I tell people, especially of this age, that do not have a project-driven mindset. Have a product-driven mindset. You understand the difference between project and product here? Project क्या होता है? At one point of time, you are ending that project. Product constant, evolution, value. So in the age of AI, in the age of gig economy, in the age of volatility, what will take you ahead is your value that you create. So I call it an age from IQ to EQ to AQ. AQ is adaptive intelligence to survive and thrive in this particular era. So fail, but fail fast, learn from the mistake, and then fill the gap. That's how you will innovate and have a lot of patents to your name.
One thing I want to add here, just a suggestion I would say, we as a recruiter, we at times when go to campus placement, we deliberately put pressure on you people. We know you will not be coming with an experience who will handle certain situation, but just to check how you respond, not react. There is a difference. You respond to certain situation and how you deal with the failures. There are certain psychometric tests where we deliberately make the questions in such a way that you will not get the answer. Nobody will get the answer. But how you respond to that? Always think in that perspective. How to rectify the problem, how to solve the problem, and to figure out where the problem lies. If you don't understand where the problem lies, you can never go to the solution part.
I think even more than that, what is in it for you, this round largely comes out as, especially, like our moderator himself saying that he has an experience, okay? This prepares you for the real world. ये goody-goody नहीं है. What we are talking about is very idealistic. So please do not assume कि outer side world is like this. नहीं. There are a couple of things which came out very nicely here in this place. One is yes, there are rebuking if you fail. That's largely about the organizational culture. Okay. Then there came out that there are organizations who says you fail but fail faster. Now I come from the organization Nallas, the name that you see, Brahma and Nallas. In our organization, one of the cultural tenets itself, one of the pillars, okay, what we believe in, is performance over perfection. No one is asking you to be perfect. ठीक है ना, perform करो, fail करो. What she said, आप काम करती हो इसलिए आपसे गलत होता है. So that gentleman is aligned towards this performance over perfection. The big bad world outside is not idealistic. There you do not have this kind of cohorts who sitting and discussing all the best things with their 25 years, 15 years of experience. Mind you, there is one boss who's a novice, who's gathering experience at the cost of your suffering. That's the truth.
Very true. Ramdhani Singh is a very famous Hindi poet. उनकी कविता है, कोई भी तुम का खुदा नहीं, ना तुम, ना मैं, ना वे, ना मैं, ना तुम. Nobody is having a clean slate. Your boss not done mistake. Their boss not done mistake. It's okay to do mistakes. But again, you need to understand your boss. Whether you have an appetite to bear that risk or give you the space to commit a mistake or not. And the second tip, because you will soon landing, keep your boss informed at every stage. That's the reason there are CC in the emails. That's the reason there are CC in the emails. Because organization find a scapegoat. Who to blame? So you need to understand You need to inform, even emailers, even messages, even phone calls. Sir, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Suppose you have to catch an organization flight, important event. You are the MC and you're running late. So if you're informing at 11th hour I'm running late, the boss can't blame me. And then they shout. Everybody have a mental acceptability quotient. Your parents also. शाम को अगर आप 11 बजे बोलोगे ना मुझे ग्राफ चाहिए वो ग्रीन कलर वाला तो parents will definitely scold.
See, Paji is trying to explain you the RACI chart, what is the R stands for I, informed, consult, document stuff. That is what he's trying to do.
So then you should be talking about your parents मुझे 7 बजे ग्राफ चाहिए 8 बजे ग्राफ चाहिए 9 बजे आपको मैंने बोला था 7 बजे चाहिए. That's what you do. In the organization also. Please keep everything documented. That's the reason it's like clear text written in bold, underlying letters that do not assume and presume.
I think they've given the training here also when you're part of committees. I'm sure all of you have a group head also, right, from the college. So I think you do get that training. You do keep everybody in CC, correct? If you have one of the professors running your committees. I think, the training is already on.
In corporate, you have to take it to the next level. My skill manager also.
Yes. But you know what? One of the things is maybe because we work in startups now, we have the liberty to fail.
Yeah.
One of the good things I've seen in startups is that as compared to larger organizations and maybe come from a different generation, right? The good thing is that actually one of our values has that. Same thing that you were talking about.
It's cultural orientation
Yeah.
of the leaders of the organization.
We
who are
learn
trying
from our failures.
Right.
Right.
Even legacy companies also, there are the next generation who are taking up, so they're trying to change that
Yeah.
stance of let us experiment. Even, the 3M companies post-it, which we use, is a result of that experimentation. So people are understanding there is a change, but it is a slower change.
We all make mistakes at every stage, right? Even today, it doesn't matter if you're starting out, if you're a leader, all of us make mistakes. And the good thing that I noticed and the reason I shifted to a startup mode is because it gives you the opportunity to learn from them, right? And one of the values actually says that in our
Couple
organization.
of good things that has happened. One, good is very harsh to accept, but that's a reality. The legacy folks in organization, the traditional bosses in the organization, they are now pressurized to transform because the relevance is falling heavier to the traditional bosses than the new gen. We have a fear, am I going to be relevant tomorrow? And I, as an old boss, I always need to, and I am pressured by the young generation when they come and ask me one pat question and ask for a pat answer, not a roundabout way. And I know for sure that if I do something wrong not by the rule books, something wrong by the perception of my teammates, that no, this is not justified, that person will leave me the next instant. Your generation does not stay if they don't see well. It's a fact, and it's a very ruthless fact that if people have, changed, turned the table towards us, that's a beautiful thing to happen. Beautiful thing to happen. And keep pressurizing. So who are the change agents? Keep pressurizing us. We have to change. If we don't change, the world will not change, we will lack.
So whether it's a startup, whether it's a established organization, qualifying the whole organization, कुछ ना कुछ करने के लिए फटेगा. We ready with that. Even if you have 100 of processes, SOPs in place, पक्का फटेगा. What is your job?
Keep your manager informed.
That's not by default. But you have to stitch it. Your job is very basic to stitch it. You're being paid to stitch it. Keep it like that, very simple. If you stitch your own mess, it's okay, no recognition. If you stitch somebody else's mess, definitely a recognition. Sure. किसी और का रास्ता अगर आप साफ कर रहे हो, 100%. So you should have that skill that you can do that. I'm giving you a lot of tips.
Does giving liberty to fail for an employee.
Yeah.
Make them more careful about their role.
See, what is your takeaway after that failure matters a lot. How do you make it up? That yes, I failed. I accepted that I failed. It's okay. Acceptance is very tough. Trust me, very tough. From an employee standpoint of view, from a boss standpoint of view, you have to accept it in front of boss that yes, I did a mistake. Now my learnings are things. I promise I won't do it. They're also humans, man. Right.
No, and your question was also, don't be so careless, right? So I don't know what your pass percentage is, like, let's assume, right, like 35% from school, like if you got less than 35%, you fail your board exams or whatever. Right? Now, if the college announced, hey, look, if you get less than 35%, I pick. But what would you do? Because who does it impact? Yeah, so what would your decision be? Will you be careless? You still try to get at least that 35% mark, correct? Because again, it comes back to what is your purpose, what is your goal in life, and what do you want to achieve? And how do you measure your performance yourself? Are you going to be careless? That's completely up to your values and who you are. That's it.
No, I think that also brings us to probably the conclusive answer of this session, this particular question, and I shouldn't have missed it. Thanks for asking this question. Whenever someone fails in an organization, it is equally responsible for both the person who has failed and the people who are judging. Okay, as I said, it's a ruthless world. It's not an idealistic world. Okay, so depending upon your luck where you are, the actions will be. Let's accept the truth. Okay, that's a fact. Okay, now that being the case, both for the individual and for organization, it is important for them to understand. अगर purpose था बंदे में तो fail हुआ क्यों? Why did I fail? Where did I fail? And what failed me? These three questions, I think as an organization also we need to understand, reach the metrics, look into the entire thing, judging and then doing your appraisals and all those things. That's in the hand of the organization at any given time. Three things that we cannot choose or two things we cannot choose. What are they? Parents and trust. You will not get it in your book. Okay. So these are the two things. So karna kuch nahi hai hame. But at the most that I can do is that, and that saves you from recklessness. Mind you, when you are in a world where your mistakes are forgiven, there is a higher degree of chances that you become reckless also. Okay, but as professionals, we can't afford to do that. Leading to Shiva's question, she asked a very beautiful question. Correct? So these things we need to keep in mind. For the leaders in organization side, we need to keep in mind same questions. What failed him? Why he failed? What is the reason behind failing if he was having the purpose? Otherwise, and people never punish people who is generally, not never. Generally, you don't get punished if you had the purpose and you had done the right CC. Okay. वो male management to सीखना ही है. That's the most dangerous and most powerful ammunition in a corporate in your hand. One wrong usage, ठीक है, missile misfired. Simple. One wrong usage, BCC to the wrong person. Okay, God, your career will be that. So you need to, anyway, that's a different thing, not thing. But this is something I think we all need to, both the stakeholders need to ponder.
So I think at least not in culture, but in processes, at least in product organizations, we are seeing this shift where we are completely moved to agile methodologies, right? Where we are shipping feature faster, we're taking the market feedback and course correcting rather than doing it in a waterfall method where like we would have a 6-month release cycle. We are releasing like 2 releases a month. And that sort of enables you to become a more efficient, more market oriented fitment product. And that could sort of, can be taken forward to this as well, where you are allowed to make mistakes, but you have to take certain learnings and improve on that, right? And sort of, if you imbibe that in the culture, maybe you can
So along with imbibing agile methodologies, you can also use the philosophies of DevOps and DevSecOps, which is the collaboration, constant communication, which I was trying to say. All this makes up is not only a technology jargon, these can be used in every field and every function.
I think so. We are just a short on time. I just wanted to touch on one thing. AI what chal raha hai. You are working in a startup. Your latest role. So how do you are you using any tools in performance management? AI tools. How do you use them? How is it changing? How let's say performance is being evaluated? How you are rolling out appraisals? If you can touch upon that.
Okay, so Vishakha, you and I were discussing earlier as well, right? The human aspect to all this. Both of us being in HR at the moment, the tools are there, right? Which helps us make our work so much better. It's easier. The administrative tasks get easier. But how do we put in the human aspect to it, the empathy, like what we were talking about, right? When you talk about people's performance or people's purpose and all that, until you sit and talk to them, right? No amount of AI is going to understand your feelings, right? They're not going to be empathetic. And I mean, I'm just going to take this example right here, right? All of us are here in person from different cities. We could have done this over call or virtual thing. But would we get the experience that we just had with all the students, the interactions, what we just did? We won't. And AI is something very, very similar. And I think like what she was saying earlier as well, right? Where you were talking about human machine collaboration that needs to happen. That's how it's going to be. I think we need to adapt and understand how AI works, but without the human brains behind it, I don't think it's going to be very successful. Right? I think it needs to be a collaborator.
One of the biggest challenges, or maybe a challenge, I must say, for the HR is not to over rely on any of these.
Correct.
I think what Shiva is also, in a way, she also mentioned the same thing. See, being in the HR role, okay, you cannot be over relying neither on the boss's feedback, can't. Okay, nor you cannot rely on completely automated, outputs that you get, productivity outputs and error outputs and everything that you get from the AI these days. Just by that you cannot. So, like Vishakha was telling me, she works in an organization which is 3,000 odd people, right? You say, and almost 90% of the total workforce, she had a personal contact, HR. By she, I mean, the HR had how much?
21,000.
21,000 employees. 90% of them, they have personal contact with. Why? Now, another thing that needs to be called out here in this forum itself is that this AI, we have added our imagination. Okay, AI will have a very definite role. It will only empower us. It will take some of the jobs which is mostly repetitive in nature, okay, which is otherwise time taking. But AI will never remove the human significance. Human significance, I mean, it will be very foolish of us if we do that. We can attempt and do that. We will see a cycle also, life cycle also, where we will attempt. After going all these things also, we will probably attempt, and then we will fail, and then silently we will improve ourselves and start moving towards it. Some organizations will definitely try this. Completely AI hospitals and all these things. We are hearing robot hospitals and all these things. So we will just wait for a casualty, and then we will again improve ourselves and go back to where it's supposed to be. And it's supposed to be, like she said, the cohorts. Okay, so we will have colleagues, which is AI colleague. But that does not mean that all AIs will become colleagues. No, it has to be human and AI. Yes.
At the end, your bosses cannot blame AI.
It happened, Air Canada case, where there was a customer who asked a query, and the chatbots of Air Canada replied to that query. The question what was asked was misinterpreted by the bot. The bot gave a wrong answer. On the basis of that, the customer sued the client, and AI camera said, you know what, this is not me, this is the artificial tool, this is the bot. And that's why now in the governance angle, there are a lot of laws which are coming into picture. You have laws of GDPR, TPTP, COSA, Kids Online Safety Regulation Act, this is all coming. But yes, the bosses still try to blame the AI to me.
Better blame the humans first. The challenge is that yes, the AI is there to support. In my previous organization, one of the kids like you, I put up all the passwords on GitHub. Put all the passwords on GitHub. Okay. So that the interns say that it's not my fault. AI asked about it. Give me the password. You put all the passwords there. So that's how you need to be very proactive in using the AI. You cannot put official information, definitely no. Not at all. In case your organization have a co-pilot or any other tools, you are properly monitored. Even if you are using that for building your own CV, 100% monitored. So use it very, very cautiously. It's for your support, your enablement, not for plagiarism.
Adding to what everyone is saying, the moment you see AI as your competitor or you become a victim of AI, like, oh, my job will be taken away. Okay, if this is the mindset, then there is a big problem because AI is not going to take your job away. If you think AI as will enable me to work seamlessly or will help me to do work certain way, like screening of CVs. Like we go for a campus recruitment, we have 100 of CVs, we put it in a certain way, and we check and we want to segregate the CVs in a certain way with the experience wise, with the age wise, with a certain way. We can use it. But at the time of the interview, when we do the interview, we cannot expect an AI to do an interview in certain way because they cannot feel. We see the expression, we see, we observe, we understand what the person is going through. So take AI as it will help you in the work, not as a victim. So what is a dichotomy here? Dichotomy in the sense that you're absolutely right. Human intelligence, as of now, cannot be surpassed. As of now, I'm quoting Sam Altman, not my own words. As of now, we can't. But there have been many roles which has disappeared because of AI. Content designers, content writers, web designers, web coders. So the Sam Altman used to hire a lot of campus people from campuses on technology. Now they said we don't want to hire because they've developed codecs. So the initial level of coding for the freshers are gone. So that role has completely disappeared. So as you said, you're right that the human, they are going to reshape the job roles, but along with reshaping, they're also disappearing many of the jobs. That is more into a transactional role, what Anup said.
As of now.
He actually said it in the initial beginning that few roles which is very transactional, manual, and very
Rising analyst is supposed to be disappearing in another 2 years. So actually, that's why my own state of mind is I'm also in a shock right now. What is going to happen to our organization if we do not adapt to these changes? We are in denial mode right now, but things are actually changing much rapidly than we have anticipated.
Yeah, I think adaptation is the need of
Yes,
the hour.
yes.
So even those skills, right? When you talk about content writer, where does the ideas for the content come from today? There's somebody who's designing. Numbers are your skill sets need to adapt and what's coming on in the industry. And I think that's what will make it.
Since I dwell, like in the content zone, I have a creativity hand also. I cater to the industry in terms of content, so I can tell you something. Very interesting thing which is happening in the content automation, okay, which is, see, these are all prompt based, okay? Who puts the prompt? And mind you, for the same content, 3 of us or 4 of us sit together and put our own prompts, you'll see a different content altogether. So who's studying it? Human beings are always on top of it, mind you. Yes, where you are requiring 10 people, you may end up requiring 3 people, but those 3 people will be hyper specialized people. You get my point? So skilling at your end is very much required. What are you going to do? The certifications that you are going to take, the application that you are doing. This coming world is application oriented world. Okay, and hyper skilling. You need to go deep, wide as well as deep both. Okay, so guys, that's the sustainable way of growing in the future. Okay, if you don't have a deep knowledge, somewhere in the race you will lose out.
That's a very nice point, Azam has brought deep knowledge. You have heard about blue collar employees? Everybody knows white collar versus blue collar. Have you heard about blue collar employees? That's skilled. Skilling has become a part of even definitions of blue collared, white collar, and blue collar. So everything is all skill oriented. The only highly specialized skill, as said by Anup, those are going to be with us as of now again. Because I say as of now, every 3-4 years things are changing. So I'm putting it there as of now. So that I may not be quoted.
And if we use a live example that, so just had these kids do a role play on, right? Taking a bowl away and, right? There's AI, yes, AI would have given you the very specifics on the depth, the size, where it needs to be done. There was nobody with a measuring tape and those, those specific
jobs are gone.
Yeah, so but you needed human interaction to come and see that it's still being done, right?
Conversation, but without us, there was a conversation between bots happening that during extinction humans will not be there, but how will we survive if the humans are not there? Because the main code is with them. So we have to be there, yeah.
So the chicken or the egg first. Okay, so Grayson, again, I'm going to use that example that we had, right? When he posed a question saying everybody write down, there's a young music composer there, there's somebody who's looking at insects, plays football, everything. Now, if we had, a bot or some artificial intelligence measuring all that, it would have just given me those stats saying that 20% did not even pick up a pen.
Yes.
10% actually wrote it down within the first 10 seconds. Another 20% wrote it down but did not want to scale. It would have given me stats like that. But unless we went and asked those folks, right, sitting there and understanding what their purpose is, what is their, what drives them, what motivates them, right? And me as an individual, I can still put those prompts on AI and say, hey, this person had this behavior, so how do I judge them? It's a prompt that comes from me. So that human aspect, those skills are evolving, like what we're talking about. You need to evolve, you need to adapt. But I think it is going to be a collaborative.
I think the gist of it was like whatever AI solutions we implement, there will always be a human in the loop. Maybe the number of humans will increase, but it will always be a human.
And machine collaboration.
Yeah, I think so.
I could not imagine a Shah Rukh Khan Kajal movie with a bot. I cannot.
I think the key here is to look at AI as more as a enabler and a productivity tool rather than something as an enemy which is coming for your jobs. I think before we open the panel to questions, I would just like to summarize the discussion. But before summarizing, I think keep your manager happy, keep your manager informed. आपने पढ़ा है तो आपको सीखना आना चाहिए and keep a track of your activities. I think these are the nuggets of wisdom that's enough for them.
Rest organization and possibilities.
We'll start with the questions, Fazan. If we have someone from here, then we'll move across the yeah, please.
So, as you can see, I have a couple of years of robotics. So I have robotics for a couple of years. These that I've noted my thought down. I've seen in the last few months, I would say years, that more importance is given to the SOPs or the policies by HR and the management that we've seen. And then make more measurable KPIs towards it. So we understand that this somehow decreases the flexibility in the job role, the option of experiencing as we're speaking about, and then less psychological ownership somewhat down the line. And that also brings in less satisfaction, goes on to higher attrition, which is a concern. But I understand that this gives better, I would say, a scenario for knowledge transfer to the new employees. Because me, when I am, to be very frank, when I am in my notice period, I would just do the knowledge transfer for compliance maybe and not with intent or purpose as we were speaking about. So that is the positive aspect. But I think this cycle somehow leads the company knowledge to walk out of the door, which I did and which I have experienced. So I would like to understand the panel's take on that.
It's a very good question, and things haven't changed. So we call explicit versus implicit knowledge, right? And notice period, what you spoke is absolutely correct. Again, it is all about an individual intent here. I have served notice period in whichever organization I've been. I have worked with ExxonMobil, then I had a notice period of 1 month. I worked closely with Punch Group, I had a notice period of 2 months. And you will not believe, my intent to work was higher because I was leaving that organization. I felt that because I'm going, let me put my heart and soul here and do what I have not been able to do because of the restriction of fear of what my bosses will think or say. These are 2 months for me. I will do whatever I want to do in terms of the goodness of the organization, bringing those kind of cold cases, the interventions which we have planned and was not given approval of. I went and said, "Sir, now I'm going just 2 months. Let me experiment. Let me give that." So again, it's very individual specific. From the corporate point of view, there is no mechanism or governance except those documentation, AI, whatever, the executive automation, whatever you talk about, HR, again, operations automation, but it is humans who has to understand whether it is on a very, very individualistic basis. That's my take, my opinion after working at so many organizations.
I strongly feel the name knowledge transfer itself needs a change overall. Because we probably cannot transfer knowledge. If I want to also, my knowledge remains with me. Okay. I think it should be rather, actionable transfer or daily work transfers, whatever that was pending in your hand that needs to go. That can happen to a larger extent. And it has 4 stakeholders. Your so-called knowledge transfer has 4 stakeholders. One amongst them is the person who is going out. The rest 3 is, one is HR, other one is a very pivotal person, boss. Okay, and the third person is who's taking over. Most of the time, the knowledge transfer fails or remains farcical only because the boss does not have the intention to look through what has been transferred and what he requires. Again, it draws back to that clarity. The person who's taking over the role, he doesn't have clarity what is expected out of him. You get my point? And HR stakeholdership is the least, okay, in terms of creating the right templates by their sheer observation and experience of what this role requires. So that can be one of the enablers, both for the boss and the new role takeover, whoever is doing that, the new person. Okay, but largely it is because of that, where people just while away the time and walk out scot-free.
The loss. Okay, so I just want to ask you one question. Do you get paid when you are in notice period?
Yes, absolutely.
Then I think it's ethical morality of an employee to do a work which you have been paid off. First of all. Okay, that gives an answer. Secondly, when a person is in a notice period, don't see your careers in a very short term period. Okay, all the industry, Indian industry, even within India, every organization is very we know each other within industry. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, yes. So when I say I will not do work or I will be very careless during my notice period, I'm seeing my future in a very short term period. You are building your credibility from the day you start your job till your last working day. Okay? Because you never know who will you meet, whether in this panel, maybe outside, maybe in some other organization. Okay? So building your credibility is on your hand. How do you build your credibility and how ethical you are? If my company is paying me a certain amount, it's my job, my responsibility to do my work. I will not sit down. Secondly, coming to your question, what if there is so many SOPs and there are so many processes are laid out? First, now the audits are very careful. It's mandatory by the RBI, by the external, internal. There are a lot of audits which goes on. And just to make yourself compliance correct way, okay, you have to do certain things in a process wise. Okay, but it doesn't take a freedom away. If you are doing a right thing, keeping CC to your bosses, okay, so nobody is going to stop you. Okay, there are people, there are not many bad people. If you are good at your work, if you are very open to your work, and you transparent in your work and you know what you are doing, There are good people in the industry. It's not always I have a 5 or 6 years of experience. I have been under 11 supervisors. Maybe it's a luck or somehow or other way. And every supervisors I'm still in touch with. I'm still in touch with my professors. That's how you build your credibility. Okay. So they are good people also. They will not take your independence. They will give you a place where you can actually grow.
On a lighter note, I just recalled a visual name of 3-4 past employees. Very difficult to manage in those 2 months notice period. I specifically waived off their notice period. I said better let them go rather than cause disruption in the organization. So it is, as the case may be, we take appropriate, measurable actions.
Last tip, you have carried a project like a baby. Maybe for a month, maybe for a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years. Now somebody else like needs some other nanny will qualify your baby. Simple, very simple. So you have to be detached. Now you have to hand over your baby to somebody else. And the notice period is a very amazing time period wherein you can make your bosses realize what I'm missing out. Very true. Be very candid, very open, very much courteous with them, so that they would realize, "Arey, yaar, to अच्छा बंदा है, क्यों जा रहा है? रोको इसे." That should be a credit.
So now you have 2 choices, right?
You know your choices now. Yeah. Either be a brat and get an early exit. If you have a 90-day notice period, try to get out within 2 weeks by being a brat, or behave really well, do your job and make sure you network and get a better job the next time you meet the same person who's leading another organization. Very simple.
Thank you so much, everyone. That answers everything of it. Thank you.
Nice question, by the way.
Yeah, sure. I think we'll take one question from the midsection and we'll come circle back.
So the panel had a very enriching discussion about the prevalence of AI in the workforce today. And I just want to understand, like a few decades ago, none of us would have imagined such a world where we are coexisting with robots, like all of us, like any common person is coexisting in such a manner. So how do we make sure that the very idea that humans are still on top of the hierarchy does not transition into something else in the future? Because in the past, this is not the world we envision. And right now, as students, I'm sure everybody relates to the fact that we can't imagine how, like 5 years ago, people pursued MBAs, how they completed their assignments on time. So how do we make sure that this doesn't transition into something more easy?
You adapt. When I was growing up at my grandparents' house, they had those radios. What are those radios called now? Yeah, the
Gramophones.
yeah, gramophones and radios that they used to listen to. When I was growing up, we had a television, so it was black and white and then the color television. And our parents would worry about, oh God, these kids are going to get ruined sitting and watching TV all day. When I had my kids, the first kid was using a desktop, and then it evolved to a laptop, and then a MacBook, and then one of those iPads, and I don't know what they're using today, to be honest. Right? So we are constantly evolving. We come with a mindset thinking that, hey, this is going to ruin our generation. This is going to make life very difficult. I think that's the mindset we all need to get out of first. Especially some people in senior levels. What you were talking about is very true, right? Senior leaders today worry that they are going to become extinct because of newer technologies that are coming in. The mindset change that needs to come in is, how am I going to use this to help me do my job better, right? We're humans, we're going to exist, right? It's about adapting to the newer technologies. So we evolved. I'm somebody who evolved from all those radio times to cassette players. I have CDs in my house, and my kids probably don't know how to use a CD player today. Right? Cassettes, yeah. Imagine giving them a dial phone.
The real example is my mom loves her phone more than me. That's a real example of technology change.
But we've all adapted. I'm a living example of someone who's adapted from a radio technology to you VR. You use VR now. Yeah.
We work with VR. You asked a question about the eeriness and what do we do about it. So many of us are very scared, especially those who watch the science fiction movies. Okay, so you will see lots of possibilities which a naive guy like me doesn't understand. I understand one thing and I give you a very philosophical answer to that, which is very relatable, practically relatable. Where did this AI come from? Us. Why did we bring AI? Something was troubling us. Human beings are always solution centric. We don't stop at any destination. We keep on chareveti. We keep on moving. We don't stop. Okay. And the day we feel that this AI is eerie, human beings will not want it. Simple. We will change. We will bring in BI. Something. You getting my point? Okay, so we don't like to be threatened. We don't like to be inconvenienced. All philosophy. But that's where the logic lies. Because the very source of AI, as you all said, is us. So the very source of removing AI away will be us. All it takes for us, one day suddenly we all as human beings decide enough of cell phone, gone. We'll not use it because we are feeling eerie. New gen language, right? And we are driven by these terminologies. Correct? So we suddenly start feeling bored about this. Started feeling bored about AI. What? Some new things will come up. We will go back to jungles, we will sit and do dhyana. Simple.
Right? They should come to you.
Thank you so much.
One question. Yeah, please.
Can I speak here?
Yeah.
Going back to the concept of purpose and passion, there was a point in the discussion when Anup said that when the purpose and passion of an employee does not align with that of the organization, HR know what to do. So I would want to know what to do meant. Talking about specifically, we the Gen Zs are people who follow our hobbies more passionately, I think, than the older generation. And if we get an opportunity to monetize it, we would be leaving our many of the good to doing it. So if you come across candidates that fall in that category, do you look upon them negatively? On a lighter note, I am specifically asking this question because for the past 4 months, I am an example of this category. And for the past 4 months, I haven't got any shortlist for the interview. So
You yourself answered your question, ma'am.
Okay, so there are quite a few questions that you asked me. They're so intertwined. But since you need a clarity, let me tell you. What is that HR knows what to do? So HR knows to work you out of the aisle. Very crude. They're the ones, right? They work you in, they work you out. It doesn't match. Okay, second question. What if there is a misfit? There is nothing negative. It is personally how I am taking it. I am not made for this, I am made for something else. But as human beings, it is very difficult for us to accept that I am not made for this. Now that's a question that we individually need to answer. I love writing poetries. I have been asking myself a question. Do I stop working and write poetries only? Okay, and I never found a very convincing answer for that. So night 10 to 1:30 is my poetry writing time. It's a real fact. Okay, it's not made up. I'm managing it that way. Beyond 1:30 something is very tasking for the next day, so I don't do it. Simple. So we need to either work the hybrid way, or we need to find out that what I am aligned to. This generation, I mean, these days are very good for everyone. There is no one who is useless. No one. Third question is about your interviews, I think. What did you say? What was the campus?
I haven't got it.
Huh. So what is that? Is it a measurement of something? Ask that question to you. Is it a measurement of your capability? What if you are made for bigger things? I don't know. What if you are so good in the field that you are good at, no one comes closer to you? But is there a requirement of that sort? See, it's all about matchmaking. That does not happen, as simple as that. So that's exactly what I said, that alignment I'm talking about. That alignment needs to happen. So I think largely that answers all your three questions, right?
In addition to that, you cannot say HR and you love somebody else. In addition to that, you cannot say the HR that you love somebody else. It will be very stressful.
So you're talking about entrepreneurship is your, this is where you want to go, right?
I just talking about a category of candidates. That might be an individual, might want to become a singer, an actor, a content creator, a writer, but they have they can deliver on the performance part, but their larger purpose in passion life does not. I mean, as we say, the
It's bigger than the given job role, right? Which.
No, are you talking about passion purpose mix?
yeah, so my passion purpose in life might not align with that of the organization. I might not want to align with I might not want to do things.
Your passion is de-alienated with the organization's purpose. अब मत mix करो ना. Only purpose match होना है.
I am not fit for the job.
हाँ जी.
अगर HR को बता के, अगर HR को अपना पर्पस बता के सिलेक्शन नहीं हो रहा तो क्या फायदा?
Yeah, exactly.
Very simple.
Right. So let's be serious about this. Okay, he's trying to understand something. Okay. See, the thing is that I think you mixed up too many things. The discussion was very heavy, I think. So ये passion और purpose को mix मत करो. सबसे पहला गलती ये. Your professional.
I also say that इसका मतलब ये कि नौकरी छोड़ मतलब please understand. We are talking something about one is your hobbies, your passion, or becoming a speaker. That's perfectly fine. But along with that, you can also become a good manager or a good leader. So these are two different aspects we are talking about.
Passion, performance, and purpose. A person might be performing well on his job,
Right.
but emotionally, his passion and purpose might not align with that. He's a good fit for the job, but the other two things.
Both can, happen side by side. That's what
I'll give you one mantra like how our sir has been giving very good mantras. Okay, so the thing is that there will be a point in life. Okay. There will be a time in life, okay, which will allow you the luxury of quitting profession and taking up passion. Post 50, you will arrive into that. Patiently wait. If that fades, that was never your passion. If time changes, which allows these things, like we are seeing time is changing very fast, very fast. If that is happening, then probably you may end up doing both your passion and what I am doing currently. I am doing both my passion and profession. I am very good at my profession. I am probably good at my passion also. I maintain both the things.
You have Ayush Naguran as an example, as an engineer. There are so many other engineers, and then Yami Gautam, there are so many, and they're pursuing their passion. You have to see what point of time you want to do what exactly. You have to create your own milestone roadmap before you take that quest.
Listen, as an HR person who recruits, okay, and I'll be very honest, we see thousands of resumes every day, okay, thousands. And what would stand out is if somebody has done something exceptional, and as all of you get into your careers, right, talk about what is the problem you're going to solve for the organization, research your goals, and understand what is it that the organization does versus what you want to do. If it doesn't align with you, please don't even apply for the job, right? Because the culture is so different in every organization. I'm sure between the 6 of us here, we'll tell you it's completely different. Each of us has a different style of working. All our organizations are very different. And if we were to all work together, we probably may not even get along. And that's the reality. Okay. The other thing is, if you're passionate about something else, I have a friend from another IIM, very brilliant guy. He completed his MBA. He was a musician while in college. Today he runs his own startup, which is music based. Okay. He was working somewhere else. He used that money to build his own empire. He's doing really.
What's his age?
He's just a few years younger than me. So something in his 30s.
See. So if time changes, see, you will not wait for your 50 that time and all. Time changes, you will get both the things. You can just get along with that.
And I am talking about IIM dad, right, who's done his engineering and then his MBA, did brilliantly in studies, but music was his passion. So he started a company based on music. That's what he does today. And if you go, I think if you do a research on your own stats of grads from IIM, you see a lot of people who have become entrepreneurs, very successful entrepreneurs. There are books on startups, please go read them. I think the college also encourages this, right? They give you forums where you can do this. Go research. If working for someone is not your passion, work with them for a while, make the money you need, and then start your own empire. So, if you really want a job, network. Build relationship. When you guys send out LinkedIn requests, send it out with a note saying, hey, we met at this conclave, we met at this event. That's how we remember folks, right? And stay connected. Occasionally say hi. If you see posts which says it's somebody's birthday, oh, it's my birthday. Because it stays in your head. If you send an application follow-up after 2 weeks, 2 months, say, hey, remember me, I was looking for this. If you still have an opening, reach out. So when I get thousands of resumes in my inbox in a day, why should I pick you over the other 999 applicants? Okay, I hope that helps because it's very important for all of you to understand before you hear HR ghosts us. We don't ghost you, it's just that you're very easy.
We're already a ghost.
I hope that helped. Don't be upset.
Okay, thanks. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I know few of you had a few questions.
You're happy to take it offline if
Yeah.
you talk to us.
We
Try
can
to
connect.
bother
Those who want to sleep can sleep. Yeah.
So yeah, I think thank you for your time. Thank you for listening patiently, and thank you for all the nuggets of wisdom. I think having experienced folks like you bring that. Is it better?
Yeah.
Giving like real world experiences, how you can, evolve into your roles, how you can find your purpose, your passion, and align it with the, organizations. I think that should help you along with your career. So thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thanks for doing. Okay. Sorry.
Can we go back there?
As we come close to the close of this enriching session and conclude Samanvaya 2026, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our distinguished panelists and our moderators for sharing their time, experiences, and invaluable insights with us. Mr. Anup, Business Head, Nallas Corporation, thank you for highlighting the powerful intersection of purpose and performance. Your emphasis on clarity, empowerment, recognition, and responsibility offered a practical framework for achieving impact while reinforcing the importance of focusing on outcomes over perfection. Ms. Ruma, partner knowledge research, we are grateful for your insightful perspective on aligning passion, purpose, and performance in a world that shapes both humans and machines. Your thoughts on adoption, a product-driven mindset, and responding thoughtful to challenges avoided valuable guidance for navigating modern careers. Ms. Shima, Vice President, People and Change Management Foresight, thank you for sharing how purpose evolves with experiences and how feedback acts as a critical enabler of clarity and thought. Your reflection on aligning purpose with performance through the right mechanism responded strongly with the audience. Today's discussion beautifully reinforced that sustainable performance is not built through pressure, but through purpose, not through control, but through trust, not through compliance, but through ownership.
Mr. Swarnpreet Singh, AVP and Campus Head at ICICI Lombard. We appreciate your candid insights on ownership, self-awareness, and the importance of questioning and learning. Your message on embracing pressure Seeking clarity and taking charge of one's learning journey struck a chord with aspiring professionals. Ms. Vishakha, Manager HR at L&T Finance, thank you for emphasizing learning through action, embracing mistakes, and finding purpose behind every task. Your views on supportive leadership, shared accountability, and reducing power gaps offered a refreshing take on building ownership-driven workspaces. Mr. Utkarsh Singh, Senior Product Manager at Paytm, our sincere thanks for underscoring the role of performance, tracking, and recognition in driving motivation and feedback. Your moderation added structure and clarity to the discussion, helping connect diverse viewpoints into a cohesive learning experience. Your perspectives have helped us understand how organizations can truly enable individuals to grow, contribute, and thrive. We are sincerely thankful for the wisdom and inspiration each one of you has shared with us.
As a token of appreciation, we would now like to felicitate all our esteemed panelists and moderator with a small moment of gratitude. I request Professor Deepak to kindly present a token of appreciation to Ms. Shiva.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I request Professor Deepak to present a token of appreciation to Dr. Swarnpreet Singh. I request Professor Shubham to present a token of appreciation to Ms. Vishakha. I now request Professor Somnath to present a token of appreciation to Ms. Ruma. I request Professor Shubham to present a token of appreciation to Mr. Anil. Thank you. Finally, I would request Professor Deepak to present a token of appreciation to our moderator, Mr. Utkarsh.
We also extend our sincere appreciation to our director, faculty members, placement office, placement committee for making this session meaningful and successful. We especially want to thank our hardworking and persevering staff and IT department for their constant support. Thank you once again for being a part of Samanvaya 2026, Chapter 2. We will now be proceeding for High D. Wishing you all a wonderful evening ahead.
I will now request everyone to come in flash for us.